Hi friends, good evening. Welcome to Shankaran IA Study Circle. This is Dr. Harinath Reddy, Director of the Institute. Today in this particular video, we will try to discuss about the concept of combative federalism. So most of the students might have listened to cooperative federalism and competitive federalism. But this is relatively a new term, combative federalism. While cooperative federalism refers to cooperation between the center and the states, competitive federalism refers to competition among the states, between the center and the states. So combative federalism, it is a term coined by the former Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Harish Rawat. So when the state of Uttarakhand came under president rule in 2016, this man criticized Modi, the present Prime Minister of India. He says that Modi, after coming to power in 2014, repeatedly said about cooperative and competitive federalism. But in practice, Rawat said that he is practicing combative federalism rather than cooperative federalism. So combative federalism is a term which refers to growing conflicts between the center and the states. So between the center and the states, instead of cooperation, there is confrontation, there is conflict, there is trust deficit. That's what it refers to. For example, even recently, the Chief Minister of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan, said, in the recent past, there were a number of examples wherein the Parliament has tried to amend the laws with respect to subjects in the concurrent list unilaterally without consulting the states. So any law which is made by the Indian Parliament on a subject in the concurrent list, it is not in true spirit of federalism. It is not the essence of federalism. So this was an important remark made by Kerala Chief Minister. And again, if you remember, there is one bill which is pending with Parliament, Electricity Amendment Bill 2020. So this Electricity Amendment Bill 2020 tries to encroach into the areas where the state has powers. For example, state electricity regulatory commissions were given the power to regulate the electricity sector. But through this bill, the central government tries to increase its domination over state electricity regulatory commissions. That's why in the recent past, Kerala Legislative Assembly has unanimously passed a resolution against the proposed amendments under the Electricity Amendment Bill 2020. Similarly, most of the students might be remembering that the central formulas which were made by the India government without adequate consultation with states were finally withdrawn by the present government because of large-scale protests which happened in Delhi. So that's why Tamil Nadu, well before these laws were withdrawn, the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly has passed a resolution against the controversial formulas. And if you remember, agriculture, it is basically a subject in the state list, which means the states are supreme and not the parliament. But the parliament tried to make a law on agriculture which is a subject in the state list by invoking entry 33 in the concurrent list. Entry 33 in the concurrent list, it deals with the trade and commerce. So by invoking entry 33, parliament tried to enter into an area which is otherwise assigned to the state. Similarly, there was one act which is made by the Parliament, Major Ports Authorities Act 2021. And even BJP ruled states were against this law made by the Indian Parliament because when it comes to non-major ports, with respect to major ports, the central government and the Parliament has supreme power. When it comes to non-major ports, it is a subject in the concurrent list in entry 31. And the power to regulate and control the minor ports, it remained with the state governments according to Indian Ports Act 1908. But the Indian Ports Act 2021, which was enacted, it proposes transferring these powers to Maritime State Development Council. And this Maritime State Development Council is overwhelmingly controlled by the Union government. That's one more. Then, as I said just now, Electricity Amendment Bill. So the subject of electricity, it is there in the concurrent list, entry 38. As I said earlier, the power to regulate the sector was vested with the state electricity regulatory commissions. But now the central government tries to come up with a national selection committee for appointing the members of the state electricity regulatory commission, thereby getting indirect control over SERCs. Then when it comes to changes to cadre rules, IAS cadre rules, all of you know that all India services are those services which are common to the center and the states. And the IAS cadre rules, they are being amended by the union government, and these amendments says if the civil servants want to go on deputation to the central government, these amendments, they say that the central government will take away the liberty of the states to deny consent for handing over civil servants for the central deputation. So, if the union government wants the state officers of all India services to come on deputation, so the consent of the officer is important, and also the consent of the state government is also important. But these amendments, they try to undo this. And it also says in case if there is a difference between the center and the states in terms of their opinions, the center decision will have to be accepted by the states within a specified time period. And that's one thing. In addition to this, in several states in India in the recent past, those political parties which do not command absolute majority of the seats in the lower house, they were allowed to come and form the governments. And in several states, the speakers were also acting in a partisan manner as well as the governors. So, India being a parliamentary democracy, it is binding on the governor if he is asked to summon a session of the state legislature. But the governors are refusing under the directions of the union government. And in addition to this, the deployment of the central investigating agencies, much against the wishes of the state governments, also has created a strain between the center and the states. And again, if you remember in the recent past, there was a judgment of the Indian Supreme Court in 2018, Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India. So this judgment is related to the relationship between Delhi government and Lieutenant Governor representing the Union government. So in this judgment, the Supreme Court said the concept of collaborative, it referred to concept collaborative federalism. The Supreme Court spoke about collaborative federalism. And it says that under collaborative federalism, there shall be negotiation and coordination between the central and the state governments to iron out the differences. And again, if you remember, GST compensation cess, which has to be given, which has to be paid to the states, was not paid to the states during the COVID pandemic by the central government, citing reasons of decreased revenues of the union government. But it is a promise which is constitutionally made and also legally made to the state governments. In addition to this, the union government is trying to mobilize more and more revenues through surcharges and cesses in which the states do not have any share. According to one estimate by Vivek Kaul, an economic commentator, in 2020-21, the revenue which is generated by the union government through cess and surcharges, it amounted to 23.46% of the divisible pool of taxes. So, in total taxes collected by the union government, these cess and surcharges accounted for 23.46%. That means, out of every 100 rupees which the union government gets in the form of taxes, 1/4 of it gets it in the form of cesses and surcharges, in which the states do not have a share. And as a result, the states are protesting and asking the center to reduce these revenues or to give a share to the states in these revenues. And in addition to this, in the recent past, the union government has given a clarification that funding to Chief Minister's disaster relief funds will not be considered as corporate social responsibility expenditure. But the funds are given to PM CARES, they will be considered as CSR expenditure, but not to the Chief Minister's disaster relief fund. This is again a partisan role on the part of the union government. So these are innumerable examples with respect to combative federalism. And as I said, Indian federalism is based not only on cooperation and competition, it is also based on confrontation or conflict. So we need to narrow down the conflicts and we need to broaden competition and cooperation. That's it about combative federalism. Thank you.